super excited to actually share my recent trip to Singapore as promised, and this is going to be in a two-part series, so please stick around, subscribe, like this video, share it with someone, and enjoy this journey with me. This channel is always about telling you of the places that you should actually add to your bucket list and tell you how you can actually get there. So Singapore has been on my radar for such a long period of time, to the extent that I had read quite a lot about it, to the extent that I was very curious and was really expectant to be wowed. And for sure, is Singapore worth visiting? You need to stick around until the very end of this video to answer that question. So one of the things that you will notice as soon as you arrive in Singapore is obviously the Changi Airport. And the Changi Airport is one of the world's most beautiful airports that you will ever experience. And I had read about this, obviously, having seen that it had won 12 times over the award for the most beautiful airport in the world. So one of the things that you will notice when you arrive in Changi Airport is the several things there that are there to keep you interested. And why is this? It's because the airport is built in the form of a mall. So there are several places where you can be able to relax, eat food, go for even movies, waterfalls, and all these kind of things, the rain vortex, check out some shopping places and all these kind of things. There is so much that you can do in the airport, to the extent that you will not get bored. In fact, you will want to keep on staying at the airport longer. And in fact, it's said that several Singaporeans actually go to the airport to spend some time there because it is that nice. So the jewel, which is actually where the rain vortex and all these activities are located, it's located on the Terminal 1 of the Changi Airport. And once you have checked out and you have gone through customs, you've picked your baggage, then you can be able to access the jewel, where you will find the rain vortex, which is one of the most photographed sites across the globe. Anyone who's been to Singapore definitely has taken this picture at the airport. It is also where you will find all other activities that are located on level 5, where we have the green canopy, you have the mirror maze, you have the food courts, and so on and so forth. All other levels have, several places to shop, several places to relax, even a movie theater, live music, name it all. It is actually located at the airport. And so I was very interested in going to experience some of these things, just because I had read a lot about them. And for sure, they definitely lived up to the experience. And I was amazed myself, and I could see why the airport has won 12 times over the award of the best airport ever. And so Singapore, if you might be wondering, is a city-state. It's very unique. I know, because sometimes you Google and you're like, okay, what is the capital of Singapore? It's just gonna show up Singapore. So it is a city-state, and it is one of the smallest countries in Asia, with a population of 6 million people only. And it is known across the globe because it is said to be one of the richest countries as well. And so getting into Singapore, you could definitely see how well the architecture has been done, how well things have been thought about and not just done in a very shoddy manner, which is one of the reasons why I think it is definitely worth visiting, to see how well it has been built and how well it functions. Pretty much everything works as intended. So another thing that I definitely was interested in checking out from my bucket list was the Marina Bay Sands. And the Marina Bay Sands is one of those buildings, actually it's a hotel, that is highly pictured, and it is located in Singapore, and you can be able to go up the Marina Bay Sands. On the 56th floor, you can be able to find the observation deck, And there's also a hack where you don't have to pay for the ticket to go to the 56th floor. You could potentially book a reservation in the restaurant on the 57th deck where the infinity pool is located, and take a drink as you can be able to see the view of the city. However, going on the 56th floor was actually one of the hacks that was really cool, because you could be able to see pretty much everything that is within Singapore. And this is one of the things that I had to check out as soon as possible. And another thing that you definitely have to see is the mall itself. Like, there is just wow moments. A mall that has gondola rides, has all these designer shops, all these kind of things to actually do, to coffee places, to eateries. You're spoiled for choice. And right outside the Marina Bay Sands is one of the most fantastic water shows, light and water shows that you will ever experience, which usually happens at night from 8 o'clock. And I was able to actually witness this for 2 days because I was like, wow. And it is definitely worth watching. If you are on an itinerary, maybe you're laying over for 24 hours, this is definitely something that you need to plan and go and watch outside the Marina Bay Sands. So another place that I definitely wanted to check out was Gardens by the Bay. If you are from Kenya, this will be trees that have gone to the group of schools, you know? I know, because yeah, there's no way you would find this elsewhere other than Singapore. And Gardens by the Bay is one of the most fantastic places that you will experience, for which you can spend even a whole day right there, because Gardens by the Bay has these trees that come alive at night with the garden rhapsody, where there's music and, you know, it's a whole vibe by itself. It's as if you're watching the stars, but not, because there's music and it's so amazing and all these kind of things. So I was super amazed, honestly speaking. And another thing that I really wanted to check out is the world's tallest indoor waterfall that is located inside the Gardens by the Bay, for which you need to actually get a ticket. And you can get combination tickets that combine you watching the cloud forest as well as going to the observation in Gardens by the Bay, and which is actually such a fantastic thing to actually do. And so I was able to just wow inside the cloud forest. And in fact, once you get inside there, you will notice that the air inside there is quite fresh. It is one of the most fantastic things that you can actually ever do. And I was amazed, to say the least. Now, another thing that was on my bucket list was going on the flyer. So, I mean, this is a site that you can find pretty much anywhere in London. It's also even in Kenya. But the flyer in Singapore is one of its own kind, because it gives you a view of the city without hurrying you up, and there's no obstructions per se, for about 30 to 45 minutes, because it depends on the timing as well. And you can be able to see pretty much everything that is happening within the city. And I would recommend you going for the sunset right there at the flyer. So you can even walk from Gardens by the Bay and walk to the flyer and be able to experience the flyer and pretty much see everything there is to see. Just before you experience the flyer, there is a time capsule where you're able to see the history of Singapore. Let me tell you, things are just very well done in Singapore, to the extent that you're like, there is no room for mistakes here, right? So it is very interesting to see the city this way and see the architecture and see how well it was built and has been preserved to date. Now, one other place that I definitely had to check out was the Sentosa Island. And Sentosa Island, let me tell you, is just a mind-blowing island in itself. The reason why I was so interested in Sentosa Island is because it has the Universal Studios. Honestly speaking, I was not interested in anything else. There are so many things you can do in Sentosa Island, from the sea, going to the sea aquarium, to going to the casino. You can go to the beach, you can go karting, you can take cable cars and all that kind of thing. I really just was interested in the Universal Studios because I wanted to experience it, because I've seen it so much in the movies, and have always wanted to say that I would want to have an experience of the Universal Studios. And you can access Sentosa Island via a cable car. So what you would do wherever you are in Singapore, just head over to the harbour front and take the cable car from the harbour front and go all the way to Sentosa Island, get off the cable car and experience Sentosa itself. And there's a lot to do in Sentosa Island. Like I mentioned, you can go to the beach, you can go to Madame Tussauds, which I've already gone in London. You can experience, the shopping right there, eat from there. There's so much. Let me tell you, Singapore, I think, is one of those places where, there are so many things to keep you interested, to the extent that, you're just chopping your money. So one of the things that I really liked about Universal Studios is their water show, as well as the Minions, the Puss in Boots. There's lots of eateries as well. There was a Transformers show. I really liked the environment in Universal Studios. It is one of the smallest Universal Studios because it's just a franchise of the main Universal Studios. So help me God, I really want to go and experience the Universal Studios perhaps in the US. And so this was one of the places where you can spend a whole day and almost night, because there's a lot to see and a lot to get you interested and feel like a kid once more. And I actually got on the cable car and also headed to Mount Faber, that has lots of nice views and eateries where you can end your day watching the sunset and eating from there, and then head back to Singapore and be able to experience everything else that there is to see. Now, what else did I actually do in Singapore? I did one fun thing overnight, which Singapore comes alive at night for the food. There's so much that you can eat because there's a lot of cultural diversity, and there are several places like Chinatown, like India, Little India, where you can be able to experience lots of cultural diversity in terms of the food, in terms of things to do, things to buy, and so on and so forth. And one of the things that I was able to do was in Clark Quay, I believe, if I'm not saying this the wrong way, after having dinner in Boat Quay, which is right next to Clark Quay, it is just pretty much along the river, I was able to do the Singapore Sling. And this was one of those adrenaline moments that I don't know whether I want to do this again, because it was, one of those moments where you go all the way up and then you feel like, oh my God, I am all the way up. I am an adrenaline junkie. However, at some point I was like, oh, this is the wrong idea, but I already had done it and I really actually liked it. So this is another activity that you can do overnight, and until you actually do it, you will watch videos and you'll be like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. It doesn't look as if it's that bad, but when you get on it, it is actually something else. Now, obviously, there's so much more that I actually got to do, from shopping to experiencing things around the city state of Singapore, and hanging out with friends, and being able to get around and just have a feel of the culture right there. One thing that I would tell you is that Singapore is very humid and hot, so please make sure that you take care of the times that you want to walk around, because it is quite hot. By the time I was going there, it was about 31 to 36 degrees, but also very humid. So this is one of the factors to also consider when you're planning your visit. However, I want to answer the question, is Singapore really worth to go visit? 100,000,000%, like 1,000,000,000% for sure. It is worth going to visit and experience and see how well things can get to be done, how well things can be structured. It can feel as if it is too calculated. However, it is always very good to visit some of these places and see how things are done in other countries. Plan your trip, plan, if you can, to also add in another country that is just right next to Singapore, a country like Malaysia, or if you want to go to Indonesia. it is pretty easy to actually go from Singapore to like Malaysia, even on a bus or even on a plane, or go to Indonesia as well, which is pretty close to Singapore. So I hope that this video is one of those just refreshing videos on this channel to let you know that yes, you can also travel, you can also check out that bucket list. Believe me, some of these places that I get to go, I have looked and thought about them for a long period of time, and they need planning obviously for sure, but you can also do it yourself. Some of these places I used to see them when I was a small kid and I was like, oh, I would love to go there, but it was not possible. Sometimes you also, even as an adult, you have to plan around budgets and all these kind of things. So you definitely can do it, and I hope that you plan your trip ahead of time. Please feel free to leave a comment down below and let me know whether you've been to Singapore before or you're planning to actually go to Singapore, and whether you have any type of questions about your itinerary, and we can have a chat about that. And until next time, keep subscribed, like this video for sure, join my membership, and until next time, bye.